Hey everyone, it is Mallory, and it has been way too long since I've done a video. I have done a couple of shorts, but I have
could because I was in hot chocolate.
I have not done an actual sit-down video or a vlog or anything like that, like a full-length video. Just life circumstances, the deployment last year, and now I am filming this on October 21st, 2024. And it's been almost 1 year since Mark returned from his deployment. I was like, I'm gonna do some PCS vlogs, which I did vlog on our move from Kansas to here, but I never uploaded I never edited the videos and got them up onto YouTube. So because life has just been pretty much as full as last year, although in a different way. So we are now in Maryland. We are stationed at Aberdeen Proving Ground, which if you don't know where that is, that's okay. I didn't know either. We're here in Maryland and we've been here since late April. We moved into our house in the beginning of May of this year. So we've been here about 6 months, and I feel like we have, you know, kind of our routine down, but some big news. This is the main reason why I wanted to make this video. Yeah, I mean, if you follow me on Instagram, you know, but let me stand up and show you guys, because you can't tell, but I'm having trouble getting up. I am pregnant. I'm actually in my 3rd trimester already, and I haven't done any videos for you guys. Can you believe it? Yeah, so I'm pregnant with our 4th, and this one is actually a girl. So we have 3 boys, Max, Gus, and Teddy, and surprise, surprise, this is a girl. I was very shocked. We actually did the genetic testing, the maternity testing that looks at Down syndrome, trisomy, whatever. I wasn't concerned about that at all. Wouldn't make a difference to us, but I mainly did it so that we can find out gender early. It's like maybe end of 1st trimester. So that was like the earliest I'd ever found out gender. Like I was saying, totally shocked when we were scrolling through the genetic test results, and the gender was the very last thing, and it said consistent with female, and I'm like, no way. I totally expected it. I kind of had this feeling like that it was a girl, but I'm like, it's probably because I like deep down want a girl, but you know, our track record is with boys, and it just seemed like that was the logical thing, you know, to have a 4th boy. And so when I saw female, I was kind of in disbelief, and I didn't like 100% believe it until we had our anatomy scan at 20 weeks. Max and Gus definitely understand I have a baby in my belly. Max has been very curious about pregnancy and birth, like how is she going to come out, you know, asking very inquisitive, probing questions. And so I have explained things to him in an age appropriate way. He's 4, he'll be 5 by the time she's born, or around the time she was born. So my official due date is January 8th, 2025, which is actually Max's 5th birthday. So I am planning on a 3rd unmedicated VBAC. Her pregnancy, okay, well, first of all, let's talk about the pregnancy and how I've been feeling. So this will be like a 1st and 2nd trimester update. I'm about 29 weeks pregnant. So I'm into the 3rd, a couple weeks into the 3rd trimester. This has been my roughest pregnancy. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I have not loved being pregnant this time. It's been very tough for me physically, and then that affects me mentally. The 1st trimester was the worst. Found out I was pregnant actually on our way to Maryland. So I was in a hotel room. We were in a hotel in Indiana, and then we had actually been with Mark's parents were there. So they had we had some things that we didn't want to bring to Maryland, so we met up with them. They drove from Wisconsin to Indiana, kind of like a halfway point for us, for all of us, and did the handoff of the stuff to put into storage up in Wisconsin. And so we got to announce our this pregnancy to them in person, which is the first time we've ever gotten to announce a pregnancy to family in person, just because we're military and, you know, we're always long distance. And
You're a little brother. Hello.
what if he is a big brother?
What if he is a big brother?
Oh no. I give you a tour. You gotta tell Grandpa. Oh, congratulations. Oh,
so then that night we told my parents via FaceTime, kind of in the same way. They didn't really get it either. So those first couple weeks, so I mean, I was like 3.5 weeks pregnant, basically. So we get to Maryland late April. Had to live in a hotel for like a week and a half. In the meantime, we did a little road trip up to Gettysburg, which was really fun. So we get our house. It was like early May. Our household goods get delivered. I remember the day that our household goods got delivered in early May was the first day that I kind of started feeling a little bit of morning sickness, just like gagginess, because I hadn't eaten. I delayed lunch too long. But you know, it wasn't bad. Morning sickness starts to hit between 6 and 7 weeks. With Teddy, like it was a little later than normal, like closer to 7 weeks. With Max and Gus, it was like 6-ish weeks, a little after. Well, baby girl decides that she's gonna make me feel morning sickness earlier this time, and I was not even 6 weeks. I was maybe like 5.5, somewhere, you know, 5-something weeks, when I started feeling the morning sickness. Of course, not so bad at first, but like by 6 weeks, it's like, man, I'm feeling bad. And then when I was 7 weeks, we all got COVID. Teddy, it started with Teddy. I didn't think anything of it. It was just like a mild fever. He wasn't even coughing or anything. He got over it in a day, and so I'm like, whatever, it's just some kind of fever. Well, and right before that, I had been dealing with some symptoms that kind of made me feel like I was having UTI. I even went to the ER and the urgent care, and turns out like I didn't have a UTI, but I just felt so terrible. And so then Teddy, you know, gets this fever. I don't think anything of it. He gets over it. And then I, like a couple days after he had his fever, I got a fever. And it was, I mean, it wasn't super high, but you really don't want to have a fever when you're pregnant, like especially in the early first trimester. So I took Tylenol to treat it, but I just felt like total crap. Everyone else just ended up getting it. Mark probably, I'm sure, well, Mark did have it because we tested, but he never got a fever. But Max and Gus did. No coughing, no runny noses for them either, but it just made me feel so run down. I just felt horrible, like COVID horribleness on top of morning sickness horribleness. And I did have a lot of mucus, and that made the morning sickness worse, the gagginess worse. It was a huge cross to bear. It was very difficult. And then we're here, it's new, like Mark had just started his new job here. We're new to the area. Like things are not totally set, you know. We were mostly, you know, unpacked, but still it was just really slow going at first, and that COVID just made everything like 10 times harder. We get over COVID, but it took me a long time to feel like it was totally gone, and maybe you know, I had a touch of like long COVID that made me feel extra tired. So that was a struggle in the very beginning of the first trimester. Found a doctor here. It's actually an OB and midwife practice, which is really cool. I've always wanted to experience midwifery care, and so that's my preference for giving birth, is to have a midwife attending. I got set up with prenatal care, but yeah, I really did basically nothing except bare necessities that first trimester. I did not, to my sadness, I didn't even keep a pregnancy journal that first trimester. I only started it like maybe around week 14, so into the second. So I feel really bad that baby girl won't have a pregnancy journal. I mean, like, girls are the ones that are going to be most interested in like reading your pregnancy journal and all of that. So I'm so sorry to you in the future if you ever watch this that I did not have any pregnancy journal for you, but there really wouldn't have been much to write about anyway, because I felt sick. I threw up more than I ever have in any pregnancy. Like, I probably threw up more than in the boys' pregnancies combined in just this pregnancy. And so before we found out gender, I was like, well, I wonder if this means I'm having a girl, because I'm so much more sick. So that's my first trimester update. Second trimester, I really hoped that, you know, by 12, 13 weeks, I'd be feeling more like myself, which is what my normal pattern is. Still wasn't feeling myself. I was still throwing up sometimes at that point, lots of gagginess. Not really any food aversions, but just, you know, I really had to force myself to eat, and I really didn't start to perk up. Hold on, let me grab my journal of what I have so I can more accurately. I feel like a whale already, and I'm not even near the end. I mean, I'm nearing the ends, but you know. Okay, let me look. So I started actually keeping a log. I printed out my stuff, but I started keeping a log in week 15. And my one food aversion in this pregnancy has been coffee. I really did not start drinking coffee until pretty recently, like in the last month, I guess. It just did not sound very great to me. So that was my one food aversion. As far as cravings go, I was, especially in the earlier half of pregnancy, I was like in the summertime, I was very into strawberries. Like, strawberries could really take the edge off of morning sickness and gagginess. You know, just eat a strawberry, and, you know, that sweet tartness would really help. So I ate a ton of strawberries. I actually bought, after we found out I was a girl, I bought a couple strawberry themed outfits for her, because I'm like, she's gonna come out a strawberry because I've eaten so many. I was both feeling sick and fatigued. So, but around week 15 is when I started having some days of higher energy. So like, it was kind of like a mixed week. Like, if I would go one day without resting or / dozing off napping during the day, the next day would be completely shot. So I have had to nap so much in this pregnancy, and I'll get to maybe possibly the reason why, other than like maybe being pregnant with a girl and just having different hormones going on, like more estrogen and progesterone. And oh yes, we do have a name picked out for her, first and middle, but as normal, I won't be revealing it to the public until she's born. Week 16, I seemed to have like a boost of energy. I was really praying like for God to give me more energy to like keep the house cleaner and more tidy, and you know, all of that kind of stuff, because it was just so easy to let it go, because it's still, at that point, I really didn't care. I just wanted to get through each day, live for bedtime, like for the kids' bedtime, so I could just take it easy and not do anything, just like knit. If you saw like the baby blanket that I'm working on, you know, read, doze off, whatever, just spend time with Mark. And so yeah, week 16, that was like mid-July, if you're wondering on the timeline there. Week 15 to 16 is when I started feeling a little more like myself, but still, I still had quite a ways to go. Week 17, lots of energy most days, did a lot. Oh, another thing I did in this pregnancy was take B6 and Unisom daily, and actually up until week 17, I was taking Unisom at night. So like half a tablet at night and then half a tablet in the morning, along with B6 both times. And so I whittled it down. By the week 17, I was taking like a quarter Unisom in the morning with B6. And so that also contributed to me being super tired and needing to rest a lot and sleep a lot. But I was doing that so I wouldn't feel nauseous. Like, I would rather feel tired than nauseated. I had some lower back pain in like around week 18-ish. and started being a little more social. We went to a minor league baseball game with the kids with our parish. It was Mark's birthday and then Gus's birthday in August, early August. Yeah, I guess week 19 is when I decided to stop taking my progesterone. Like, my numbers weren't, I was like borderline low, so I wasn't low, but I was like, I wonder if taking this extra progesterone is actually contributing to me feeling worse. And I did feel slightly better when I wasn't taking the progesterone, so I decided to stop, and everything's been fine. So clearly I don't need it anymore anyway. Week 20, energy waxes and wanes depending on the day. Yeah, halfway through the pregnancy, no cravings, but still aversion to coffee. Week 21, Matt, Mark's twin brother, was in town, and we went to DC. We did a fun trip down there, and I had my anatomy scan, confirmed it was a girl. Everything looked great with her. Everything's fine. Everything looked fine. I do have an anterior placenta though, so I still, at like week 21, I still was not feeling her really. Now I'm feeling her every day, and it's great. She's very active. Week 22, I started feeling some heartburn, especially near the end of the day, and then I started doing apple cider vinegar shots in water before meals, and that super helped. But then I started having this one night, I started having this intense itching all over my body, just randomly. It was so bad. And then the soles of my feet and the palms of my hands started itching, and the first thing that I thought of was, oh no, cholestasis of pregnancy, which is a liver issue, and it's very serious. So I did go to the doctor and got my blood drawn for bile salts and a CMP to check my liver enzymes, and everything was fine. Nothing elevated. Bile salts were fine. So I did not have cholestasis, and I figured it was an allergy, like a histamine intolerance to the apple cider vinegar. So I started doing lemon juice in water instead. Also, an interesting tidbit from my anatomy scan. So I had one at 20 weeks, and then I had to go back in a couple weeks because she was lying transverse, so across the belly, and her back was to my back. So she's facing out. And so the sonographer could not get good pictures of her spine and I think maybe her kidneys. So I had to come back and to hope, like, okay, hopefully she's in a different position. She was still transverse, but her back was facing out so the sonographer could get the pictures they needed. So for a while it felt like she definitely was transverse, because I would feel movements and kicks on the sides of my belly and not the front, and not the bottom and the top. Now, in the past couple of weeks, especially the past week, I have felt like on the right side, sometimes I'll feel like kind of almost in my ribs, round hard spot on my right side, upper right side, and then all of the movement, like all of the kicking sensations, are down low. So I'm wondering if she's breech now. And on week 29, in week 32, I will have a growth ultrasound because of my advanced maternal age and also because of having COVID in pregnancy. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what her position is at 32 weeks, because if you guys have been with me for a while, you know that my first Max was last minute breech, and I really think that he was constantly changing positions at the end. He was my most active baby. Ever since then, I'm hyper aware of what position my babies are in, and I'm really thinking that she's breech now. So I'm like, okay, why, when you were transverse, why didn't you turn to be head down? In week 24, her movements were getting stronger and more consistent, so that's when I started feeling her pretty much every day. A lot of round ligament pain. Started going back to the chiropractor. So I guess in week 26, I started taking this supplement from Ancestral Supplements called Wild Fish Egg Supplement. Yeah, so it's basically freeze-dried fish eggs in a supplement form, and it's super good for pregnancy. It has choline and all these other things that are great for pregnancy. And I started taking it in week 26, and my energy seemed to start to increase, which was awesome. The next week I added in red light therapy. So we have a red light box that gives both red light and near infrared light.
Without the water range.
Okay. a near infrared light, and it's supposed to be really great for all sorts of kinds of issues.
Nasty water.
I started doing that in the morning and at night, and that also helped increase my energy levels. But it still wasn't enough. I still had those days of where it's like I don't want to do anything, and here I am in my, now entering the 3rd trimester, and I'm still feeling like I am not myself. And around this time is when I start feeling nesty and I'm wanting to do things, and my energy is pretty good. It's like that last push before you're super big in pregnancy at the end and you really don't want to do much. So then I went in for my gestational diabetes test, the 1 hour 50 gram glucola test, last Monday, at the beginning of week 29. Or around when I turned 29 weeks. So I did that. I actually failed it for the first time ever. Max, I did the 1 hour glucola in Germany. I passed. I was 135 and the cutoff was 135. With Gus, I did not do the glucola because my doctor did the 2 hour fasting test, and I didn't want to do a fasting test on an empty stomach. And so he allowed me to test my blood sugar at home for a couple weeks, and everything was fine. Then with Teddy, I did the 1 hour glucola and I passed. I don't remember what my number was, but it was fine. And then I failed this one. I don't know. I was struggling with the cold, and also ate on the way there since it was non-fasting. So those two things could have made my number go up. I was like 147. So it wasn't like terribly over the limit, but they were like, yeah, we want you to do the 3 hour. But I said, no, I can't do the 3 hour because I know that I'll throw it up, because I just can't do sugar on an empty stomach, especially in pregnancy. I'm doing the blood sugar testing at home. I have to set a timer for 2 hours after each meal, and then fasting in the morning. So far, I've only had one number be over, and it was like 3 points over, so it wasn't that bad. But what I also found out from that blood draw from my gestational diabetes test is that my red blood cells, hemoglobin, and hematocrit were low. Not terribly low, but low. And so the midwife told me, yeah, you're a little bit anemic, and so you should supplement with iron. And I'm like, hopefully that is the reason why I have felt so dang tired, and just can't get my energy up. Doing these little things helps, but it's just never enough. It's just like this bone tiredness that I've never had before. Now, it could be that this is my 4th pregnancy in 5 years. It could be that I'm almost 38. I'll be 38 when baby's born. And, I'm just tired. We just moved, all this stuff, having COVID and pregnancy. But my numbers were fine in the 1st trimester, and now they've tanked. So I just started, this will be my 3rd day, taking iron supplementation, and I'm just starting to feel like a little bit more perky. I did get some good sleep last night too, which really helps, but I really hope that taking the iron, I really need the energy, because I gotta get stuff done before she's born. Plus we have Christmas, we have my birthday, Thanksgiving, Teddy's birthday, Advent and Christmas, and then maybe at least prepping for Max's birthday before she's born, because since her due date is on his birthday, it'll be around that time. I just have so much to do, and honestly, like, thinking about Christmas really overwhelms me, and I don't even want to I want to do the spiritual side of Christmas, obviously the religious side, but I just like thinking about buying all these gifts and coordinating who is getting what. I don't even really want to do it, honestly. Like for Mark and our kids, but that's it. You know what I mean? I don't, it's just so overwhelming to me right now. But overall, I am very thankful. I'm thankful to have a great, a healthy baby again. So we'll see. I will keep you guys updated about the gestational diabetes thing after that's over. And yeah, I really should wrap up this video because it's getting long and Teddy needs to go down for his nap. Just for a recap, Max is he'll be 5 in January. Gus just turned 3, and then Teddy will be 2 at the beginning of December. So we'll have a 5-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old when baby girl's born. So I can't wait. like, this is the first pregnancy that I'm just like already craving postpartum. Like, I know that postpartum is super tiring in itself, but it's just like a different type. Okay, we're gonna go in here. I can't wait to have baby girl in my arms, and it's been fun, like starting to get little girl stuff. We've had a few things gifted to us, and I've bought a few things from the consignment store, and also bought some new things like a new booger sucker and a new changing pad for the top of the dresser, and you know, so some practical stuff that you gotta have. So it's fun. Like, that's the fun part, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm super grateful for her, for this little baby, and I can't wait to see her with the boys, with her brothers, and it's just gonna be so fun and wild. Yeah, so stay tuned. Hopefully I can do more videos in the near future, but it's quite a feat to do anything extra these days. So hopefully I can get this out in a semi-timely manner. So in the meantime, make sure you subscribe. I don't know, again, how consistent I will be, but I would like to post more. That's my desire, so we'll see what happens. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.